We're just going to cover some of the reasons why I published on FAB, and some of the highs, some of the lows, some of the challenges, some of the reasons you might want to publish on FAB in a sort of retrospective of the whole process. First, for those of you who don't know, FAB is the Amazon equivalent of the Unreal marketplace. So for all your Unreal and Unity needs now, go to fab.com. But that being said, it is a general feeling in the community that the FAB marketplace is a lesser marketplace than the old Unreal marketplace because it lacked certain features. It was rolled out badly. It's full of stolen and other types of assets. So you do have to be sort of careful on what you want or order. For instance, these Goku assets are obviously a protected IP, and if you use them in your game that is trying to make any sort of money, that could be problematic for you. So I would not recommend that. So to set up a FAB store, you have to come to this publish bit and you have to fill in some details. Filling in the form is pretty easy until you come to this payout info section, and then this payout info section takes its time to set up. And the reason it takes its time to set up is they set it up for you, but once that's all done, you keep going. It doesn't matter if it's for free like me or if you are charging money for it. The only thing I would say is if you are charging money for it, a bit like Steam, there is a threshold that you need to meet to get money out. So you need to make at least $100 to be able to pull out all your money or some of your money. Do be aware of that. It's not I'll make $5 or $10 and suddenly I've got an extra $5 or $10. No, I've got to wait till I've got 100. Now you've set up your seller account, you'll get access to this publish tab with listings and all these other options on. You just come here to create a new listing. You select what kind of listing it is. We'll follow the same routine that I did. Set the game system, confirm selection, enter a title, enter a description, enter the product type, enter the category. That's all pretty self-explanatory. Whether it's a standard license or a Creative Commons license, you can view all the licensing details here. Set the price, whatever it is, select the tags, and this is the first bit that I fell down on. I did not have a screen that was of 1920 by 1080, and so I couldn't submit any thumbnail screenshots, and I didn't want to upscale them. I had a monitor that was not as good as the one I have now, so I went out and brought a new monitor. I'm basically £50 worse off for publishing for free, but I always knew that was going to be the case, so it was worth it. Most of you will probably have decent monitors, but this was my first hurdle. You need a good resolution thumbnail, and then upload your media, see screenshots, etc. Is it mature content? Does it need AI? And then promotional content. I've ticked this because I advertise my channel inside it, so I thought it was promotional content. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. But after you've done that, then we need to upload our product files, whether it's Unity or Unreal, enter what version it is, and then this bit is a bit of a frustration of mine. One of the reasons I wanted to publish on FAB was to free up my Gmail storage and use FAB's online storage rather than my own, and I thought that if I could do that, then I would save myself some time. But actually, my project for my Gmail file with my project in is still linked here, so it hasn't saved me any space at all, which is a bit frustrating. Once you've done that, you set up the distribution method, whether it's a package that is just some files that get added or a complete project like the one that I've got. Then you set up, then you put in some technical details where it's network replicated, add the documentation link, etc, etc. Once you have sent off your asset, it goes into this review stage. So this live bit will say review, and you will get a document back that says what is wrong with it and what you need to improve. Like most things, the amount of detail that comes back is dependent on the person reviewing the document. So these first couple of times I had some good feedback that I could action, but then you'll see I didn't get such great ones next time. So first off, technical blueprint was wrong. I seem to not be able to count. I was about 5 blueprints short of the numbers that I left. You'll see that I actually failed 6 times on these 2, because I don't understand how Epic does their structures. Their structures to me are very weird. My structure looks like just blueprints and then a list of all of the blueprints that are used in here, so sort of quite ordered, and then inside each, the meshes and the sort of sound effects, etc. But Fab want you to put all of your meshes and sounds and blueprints separately. So if I look in the meshes here, you'll see that it's not all of them, but it just contains the meshes for each trap that I use. And I've tried to keep it labeled for people to make it easier, but I'm not a fan of how this is set up personally. I'd like all of the stuff that one blueprint is using to be in one folder, but that's what I failed on quite a bit. So having all of these stuff set up properly is important. Then all assets used for demonstration purposes should be in a demo folder, and the rest should be contained in first tier folders. So this is a first tier folder, just the name of your asset, and then I have a traps folder and a demo folder. The demo folder just contains all the stuff out in the room. And then unused folders and assets, I went through manually and removed them, but actually there is this filter here, which is fantastic, and the fact I didn't know about it before is huge. It says not used in any level and not used in any asset, so you can just remove the things that aren't used, which is great. Honestly, that's fantastic. And then the naming conventions of files. So I like to put my stuff at the end and they like it at the start. And then they also had this problem with a Cyrillic or non-English alphabet file, and that is interesting to me. In fact, all of this is interesting to me because the problems they had were from their own files. So in the demo, I'd use some fab assets here, and one of them was this fan, and this fan was in Cyrillic Russian with bad naming conventions, so I had to rename all of these assets to the naming conventions that they wanted. But then how the heck did this get through Fab's approval process? So they denied me based on stuff that was already available, which was really frustrating. Modeling tools, editor mode is active, that's a plugin, just needed to disable that. And then there was a few bugs in the actual trap themselves, so I fixed those. And then I resubmitted. And then when it comes back, again, we failed on project folder structure, we failed on remove assets, and we failed on consistent naming conventions. This is quite a repeat of stuff. I fixed this gradually. And then as you can see, this is the fab folder that contains the Russian file names, which is really frustrating. But again, this is where it starts to get a little bit less helpful. And then this one was a bit more frustrating because there was meant to be a delay on the middle one. It was meant to do gusts of stuff, and so that was actually how it was meant to be. And the spinning disc, when it hits, it was just meant to stop to symbolize death, so I just had to add extra stuff inside the documentation to reflect that, and inside the level itself. So all I did here was I just added a description on the wall to tell them what it was about, but it was still frustrating to read because it just meant that someone hadn't read the documentation. This guy was lovely. He gave me a full-on example because I was still failing on this section, and so I appreciated that. That gave me the whole structure of how I should lay it out. Still failing on the prefixes. This one I don't quite understand because I was cleaning up my redirectors for every single thing. I failed on this one. The materials bit was empty, that's fair. And then all Unreal Engine assets inside a demo folder. You can see I kept failing on the same sort of thing because I didn't understand it at all. I failed again on this because they told me incorrectly where it should be, and that's fine. I don't mind people making mistakes as long as we can all fix them. I can move on. So this guy was great. He showed me this image, and this showed me how to get not used in any level or not used in any asset, which was a remarkable tool that saved me loads of time going through stuff manually. Changed all my naming conventions to have SM at the start because that was the one that they liked. I don't personally like it. I like it at the end, but we follow the rules. And then again, I'd missed one and there was no demo. There were 2 demo folders, so once I removed that, it was fine. And then it was published and it was active and it was working and it was going great. And we were able to advertise it and say, this is our asset, what do you think? And people seem to really like it. We advertised it on a few different sources, so on every Discord imaginable, I throw it up there, and also on Reddit as well. And it did better on Reddit than it did on Discords. Check some analytics and we'll show you the performance. So 6.8k views, 9.2k views, 8 comments, 7 comments. These are 2 of the biggest Unreal Engine communities on Reddit. And I didn't advertise my YouTube. I didn't force people to go to YouTube to check it out. I put a showcase link in. I just sent a direct link to the Traps asset. People seem to appreciate that. Got a few comments, and then I got hit with this, and this was really quite upsetting because I'd been through everything before and tested everything and it all worked. So I got a friend to test everything as well and raised a ticket with FAB support, and they, even though I put in there what the issue was in the product, they said I didn't give them a name, but I definitely did. And so I replied, it says it doesn't have a U project file, and then for some random reason, not me at all, FAB had put it on the wrong thing and they had messed up my my asset on the FAB store. So even though I'd been through even though I'd been through it and changed everything and fixed everything as they wanted, even after all that, they had still messed up my asset putting it on there. So that was very frustrating and annoying. So am I still going to publish on FAB? Do I think FAB's worth it? It's an interesting question. I think for me, the pros outweigh the cons. People wanted my stuff to be on FAB to be more accessible to them, and I was fine with it. It was a lot of work. This documentation is, I like to think it's pretty substantial. It's about 4 pages long, and it tells sort of everything that needs to be done. And then I've also documented the blueprints as well. So there's a lot of work that went into this. If you were making money from it, it would be interesting to see. There will probably be some assets that I publish that do make money or are chargeable. I don't want to say do make money, that are chargeable, and we'll see how they do. But for now, publishing on FAB is fine. We'll continue to do so, and I hope this has been an interesting retrospective for you. Thank you very much.